Welcome to Flutter Quick Bit. So in this session, we're going to look at how to integrate Googlemap and Flutter. So the integration between Googlemap and Flutter is quite easy to implement through the use of Flutter Googlemap dependencies, which basically quite massive. There's a lot of example here which is very easy to implement, and today I'm going to show how I implement Googlemap in this application. So you can download the application through the link provided in the description, and this application basically what we need now is to implement delivery method, where user, when they check out from their cart, they can select between pickup and delivery. And for the delivery here, we provide two options: either to get their address directly from location, or they can get the address from map. So when user click on the map button, basically what it does, it allow user to scroll down or look around in the Google Map, and at the Google Map here, basically when user click, it will return address. So when user selected on the address, press save button, it goes back here, and the address text field will receive the data and display back the data. So that is basically the idea. So the things that you need to do to implement Googlemap is, the first, you need to import Googlemap Flutter into your pub/spec YAML. So make sure that you import into your pub/spec YAML, update your pub/spec YAML with a Googlemap Flutter. So once you do that, you can follow the tutorial here, the list instructions here. You need to get API key from cloud.google.com map platform. So this is basically for Google developer. So you need Gmail account for this, and enable your developer console. So if you haven't yet enabled your developer console, the page will request for you to enable the developer console for your account. And once you have your developer console, and then you can just straight away go to your developer console dashboard. All right, so based on the instruction here, you need to get what we call as an API key. So this API key is very important, since the way that your application, your plugin access the Google Map services is through the API key. So you need to create the API key from the Google Cloud platform. So how do you get the API key? If you are new to the Google Maps or Google platform, you need to enable the service first. You need to enable the API first. You need to select from the Google Maps platform here, go to the API, and then look at the enable API here. So for me, I already enabled my API, which is Map SDK for Android. But if you haven't done that, you can just enable your API through the enable API options here. You can go to the credential. This one where you need you can create your API key. So all right, so basically to create an API key, you can just go to the credential here, And you can select Map SDK for Android if you haven't yet enabled API, so you can just enable API. But for this, you just want to create credential, you can just create credential here. So the credential here basically API key. So once you created your API key, you should have the following API key listed here. So for example, like this, you can see the API key is started with this what we call as a ISA key or ALSA key. So you can just make sure to copy this and close. All right. So that is the first thing that you need to do. So since I already have my API key, so I'm going to delete that. So this is my API key here. So I'm going to use that API key for the project. To enable API services, you can go to API dashboard services, and here you can go to enable APIs and services and select Map SDK for Android. If for iOS, you can select Map SDK for iOS, and you can just press API enable to enable Map SDK for Android. For iOS, you can select this menu here and then enable for iOS. So make sure that you enable your API first and then generate the API key. So once you've done that, you should be able to use the API with your application. And that's it, right? So once you've done that, close this. We can continue. Yeah, you can just go to the how to enable Googlemap for each platform. So for this example, we use Android, so we make sure we turn on or we enable the Map SDK for Android. Then you need to make sure also your project minimum SDK version set to 20. By default, I believe the Android app build.gradle set to 16. So the minimum version, SDK version, you need to change to 20. So this option basically available under build.gradle, and you need to make sure, sorry, under Java, Java build.gradle, yeah. You need to change and you need to make sure that your min SDK version here set to 20. So that is the first, the second thing that you need to do once you access your console, enable the API, and then set your min SDK to 20. Next, you need to specify your API key in the Android manifest. You need to access Android manifest.xml under app source main Android manifest. And then since this is my key, you can use your key. You need to add the following instructions here under application metadata, and add your key here. Okay, so you need to copy and paste your key here and use your key that you get from Google Console. All right, so once you have that, you need to make sure if you want to run this under iOS, you need to make sure that your iOS runner app delegate.m with the following, you need to add the following code, or you can update your Swift code under app delegate.swift. Okay, so once you have done that, what we need now is just a simple instructions. So for me, what I want to do is that when user click on this map, okay, so that basically implemented in the checkout page, in the cart page, I believe. In the checkout page, in the checkout page. So here, what you can see under checkout page dot with the elevated button. All right, so the elevated button basically this map button here. So this is the elevator button map. So this on click on press button options implement this code here. So what it does, I created an object called delivery because I wanted to return a value from navigator instruction, from navigator, which means that you open a new page, you open the map page, and then you wait for the map page to return data, and that return data basically assigned to this object. So I have this delivery class, just a simple class which will return to value, which is address and length, latitude and longitude, where I need this information later back in the checkout page. So that's why I just create a simple class, delivery class, which will be assigned to del here, del object. So await navigator, we go to map page. So this is my map page here. So inside the map page, what we have here is just a simple layout. So when user click on this map, you can just straight away go to the map page dot. So inside the map page dot, you'll see a container which divided into two sections: flexible 7 with flex 3, 70%, 30%. There's two sections here. So the first section basically for the map, and the second section here basically for the information. To be able to use Googlemap, we need to import Googlemap Flutter dot. And then we need a few objects to be able to use Googlemap. So since what I want to do now is by default, you can see by default when I click on map, it will basically straight away go to this particular location. So that basically set through camera position and this lat length object here, lat length information here. So the camera position with shot position, all right, so this is just imaginary shot position. So the shot position here implemented by the Googlemap widget here. So this Googlemap widget, it can accept a few parameters: map type, initial camera position, so which is comes from this shot position, and it will automatically direct to this particular location. And even I can set the zoom level, so zoom level 17 as this zoom level. And the rest is just a controller. This is just for the Googlemap controller that later we want to interact with the map. And then there's an on tap option, basically allow us to execute what we call as when user tap on this particular map. Let's say let me tap somewhere here. So this is basically implemented through load at, which is load address. So the load address here basically will use the same function as in the checkout page, but it will call geocoder. Okay, just to get address, just to reverse the address, just to get the address for that particular location. Because whenever we click on any location in the Googlemap here, it will basically return latitude and longitude information. So that latitude and longitude information can be used to access or to extract address information from this click. So that basically implemented through this load at here. So once user click on this load at, so down here basically just to implement the second flexible here, which 30% screen size is all this. All right, so container address down here, and there is a button, and then also I implemented how to calculate radius or what we call as to get a distance, radius distance, not an exact distance, but radius distance, which means that from point A to point B, from the shop location to the user selected location, we can calculate the radius location from that. We just want to get not exact what we call as distance, but we just want to get some value that we can measure later for delivery purposes. Alright, so yeah, when user click on load add, so load add here, basically also before that, the marker. So you can see when by default when you click on this map, it will go to this particular location, but you can see there's a marker here. So this marker implemented through show shop marker here. So I'm not quite sure the correct way of showing this, but I'm using init state to initialize my marker. So this basically just to show shop marker, and this shop marker will implement the following marker, will create the following marker and overlay on top of this map. So user can see that this is the location of the shop, and that implemented through show shop marker, so that we can call every time, anytime that we need. So come back to load address. So in the load address, we implement also marker, so that when user click somewhere, let's say click on this location here, you can see that there's a marker here. So this marker implemented through this section of the code. And down here, this is where we reverse address. We get the address from latitude and longitude information through the use of place mark from coordinate, the library that I already talked in the previous topics. So this is where we get all the addresses and we assign to address. And then finally, what I've done here is to create object for delivery. And the object delivery here basically can be used later if you want to go back when user click on the save button, and it will go back to the previous screen and pass this object back to checkout page card. Calculate distance. So this is the calculate distance. So this basically will return kilometer. So I just use a simple mathematical formula to calculate distance between two locations. So we get calculate distance and it will return in kilometer, and that basically will print out down there. Okay, you can see the kilometer from the shop to here, and then update the layout through set state. Then when user click on this save button, so let me go back to the save button. So save button here, we just navigator.pop context and we pass back delivery object. So this delivery object contain what we call as address and also let line information. So when we go back to check out, the delivery will return back to this object here, and this object now can be used to update our controller, user location controller.text, deal.address, and later on, if you want to get latitude and longitude information, also we can through the use of, you can see here, del.letlang, del.letlang. So you can see the letlang, latitude and longitude object. Okay, so yeah, it's very simple, and then we can use this later on to implement our location services. Okay, 11 Taman Teja Changlun, click save. So you can see 11 Taman Teja Changlun updated here, return the value to this del object. So I think that's all for this. I'm not quite sure this can be called as a quick bit, but 18 minutes should be more than enough for implementing Google Map. All right, thank you. Bye bye.